Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio's The Incoherent Ramblings of C&E. Christopher and Eric are your hosts, coming to you live from Greensboro, North Carolina, as we do every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our intro music is provided from the Podshow PodSafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com. Also, feel free to email your topics for discussion, suggestions, and comments to incoherentramblings@live.com.
This is Christopher. This is Eric. April the 8th, 2010. Broadcasting live from the internationally famous C&E studios here in Greensboro, North Carolina. How are you tonight, Eric?
I am doing fantastic.
That's good to hear.
How are you doing?
I'm doing hungry. I guess.
Hungry for the show.
Oh, okay. I'm doing fairly well, but hungry.
I'm good.
Be patient with me if I'm just a little cranky.
What if you hear a growling tummy?
Yes. So, another beautiful spring day. It's clouding up now.
But thank God we got some rain to wash all this pollen away.
I haven't got any here.
You got any rain here? I got a little bit at home.
If I have, it's only a drop or two. I never saw anything, wet.
We did. We got a little bit of.
Yeah, they said it's scattered. I would just like for a little bit to scatter here.
Right.
Because the pollen is thick.
I wish it would have rained a little further.
Yes.
But anyway, I was listening to the news the other night, and it said, I don't know what unit of measurement they used for pollen, but one of the weathermen said something like, a bad, 1,500 would be really bad. 1,500, whatever it is, would be really bad. We're at 5,000. So
Really bad.
Really, really, really bad.
Well, this is the time of the year, and I do it again in the fall, where I don't have on any air or heat. And sometimes I can get away with it for quite some time, and it really saves me a lot of money on my utilities. So I have the windows open because the past couple of days, it was like 2 days ago, it was 93. Yesterday it was about 89 or 90. So the humidity was low, so it was pleasant unless you were in the sun without any breeze at all. It wasn't horrible, but in the house it was warm. So I had the windows open, had air circulating around, and it definitely helped. And when I came downstairs this morning, there was a rather thick layer of yellowish green pollen all over my coffee table, my end tables,
Wow,
and stuff that you couldn't see. I'm sure it was there too.
Right.
So I've no point in closing the windows now. It's already been done, but I'll definitely have to do some serious vacuuming. So a good evening to Stuck in the 70s, who's while he may be stuck in the 70s, he is here with us right now. Live.
Where did that put us?
I don't know.
If callers want to reach us, how can they?
They can call us at 646-716-6928.
Yes. They can go to blogtalkradio.com/incoherent ramblings.
Mm-hmm.
They could instant message us.
I am us.
They can raise their hand and speak to us.
Yes.
They can listen to past episodes on Facebook or MySpace
Or Twitter.
Or
Blog Talk
Can they listen
Radio.
on Twitter?
Yeah.
They can listen on
Well, it doesn't have a player on Twitter. It lists the episodes, and when you click on it, it takes you back to Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, I see.
But if you're on Twitter following us, that's one way you can do it.
I'm not.
So yeah, all of those ways.
There you go.
Also, go to iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to our channel, please. It'll download those shows automatically for you.
It's really more of a favor for them.
It really is. We're asking you to help yourself. It is not for us.
We do have more good news stories today than we usually have.
We certainly do. You have quite a few.
Okay.
I have some good news stories. Not that many. I think you have more than I do.
Should we start off with one?
I think we should.
Girl 6 inspires huge food donation. Inspired by a 5-year-old girl's efforts that led to more than $30,000 being raised for the San Francisco Food Bank, Tyson Foods has named Phoebe Russell a Hunger All-Star. To honor Phoebe's work towards hunger relief, Tyson has donated 30,000 pounds of chicken to the food bank. Wow. Phoebe, now 6, was moved to do something about the hunger problem in her city last year when she saw a man begging for food on the street as she was on her way to preschool. Her preschool required every student take part in a community service project, which I thought was good. That's preschool. Mm-hmm. In order to graduate preschool, they had to do a community service project. Phoebe announced that she wanted to raise $1,000. She was put in touch with the food bank, who told her several agencies who would provide $9 for every $1 she raised. And she was able to amass more than $33,000, enough money to feed nearly 18,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
We've had several stories like that over the past few months. People, young kids, like the one in Chicago, a young boy saw a homeless person and started a campaign. I think he was 7 or 8.
Right.
And got some money and some food donations, and I think a bunch of trucks came in. So that's really a good deal.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few tailgaters out there.
Yeah, most of them were, I think,
covered in pollen or worried about the rain.
I'm worried about the rain.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow, I am on my on a softball team, mm-hmm. and I am currently batting 1,000.
Yes,
I am. I have got on plate every time that I've been up to bat. So if you want to say you know someone that bats 1,000, you can say hi until tomorrow night.
No.
But the weather tomorrow and Friday is supposed to be really nice.
People have come to expect the level of excellence that you have set the bar at.
Yeah. That's true. So got some good weather going on here in the spring. And we have good news stories. So good weather and good news. I have a good news story.
Tell us one.
This is about a car wreck. It's already starting off good, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like one of the good news stories.
Seriously though, it's about a lady who fell asleep.
She 90?
She was not 90.
Yeah.
She has two young twins, 2-year-old twins.
Well, that'll wear you out.
She's driving on February the 24th. She picked up Lexi and Troy from daycare after her shift at work. Driving home on a rural road, she briefly fell asleep at the wheel of her compact car. When she woke up, the car was drifting off the road. She tried to correct, but instead crashed through a guardrail and ended up upside down in the 3 feet of frigid water in a creek. I was completely underwater, drowning. I'm thinking I'm going to die. She had not been wearing a seatbelt, and she was able to swim out of the window. She tried to get her twins out of the booster seats in the back, but was unable to.
Oh, my God, what a feeling.
Frantic, she waved down a passing motorist who joined her in the creek. Together, she and the man who stopped to help were able to free Lexi, but couldn't get Troy out of the crushed vehicle. Lexi's condition wasn't promising at first either. She estimates her daughter had been underwater as long as 5 minutes. At first, she wasn't responding. About the time paramedics showed up, she started puking and breathing on her own. But Troy was another matter, as rescuers worked frantically to cut the car and get the boy out. He wasn't breathing, and the clock was ticking. By the time he was freed, he had been submerged in frigid water for an estimated 15 to 17 minutes. Wow. Now, I'm impressed that paramedics and rescue workers were able to get there that quickly.
No doubt.
Because she got herself out, and then the motorist she flagged down helped her get the first child out, and then they were there, and got the child out within 15 to 7 minutes, which means they had to be there within 8 or 10 minutes. And they said rural roads. So
maybe the person, the passerby, maybe whoever was with him, called the paramedics while they were working.
But still, I mean, within 10 minutes they were there and rescuing. So that's pretty amazing.
That's a good response.
When I called my family, all I could say was, Troy's dead. They had just gotten him out of the water, and I had no idea he would make it. She wasn't the only one with that thought. Sitting next to her in the studio was Dr. Michael Bingham, who supervised Troy's care. He was lifeless. He was not responding to pain. After not breathing at all for at least a quarter of an hour, the toddler was ventilated with the aid of a tracheotomy and was suffering from hypothermia. Knowing that other children had survived relatively unscathed after lengthy submersion in very cold water, the doctor and his team did not immediately warm him up, choosing to keep his body cool for the first 24 hours. Just the same, the doctor was not encouraging to the mother. When children go without oxygen for a long period of time, their brains can be permanently damaged. That's a conversation I had with Laura that evening, that I was concerned Troy's brain would be irreversible. I can't say that word. Could not change the damage.
Irreparable.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, they said he wasn't going to make it through the night. However, the child has made it.
Awesome.
He made it through that night, the next one, and the next one. Continues to improve. The doctor adjusted his expectations. Children's brains are plastic and rewire themselves to recover function much more easily than adult brains. He believed keeping the temperature below normal the first night also helped. There's some protection provided by the cold water that is surely what saved his life and allowed him to be so high functioning at this point. He's eating on his own. He's made a lot of progress, and the doctor says there's no reason to believe he will not fully recover. So that's a pretty awesome story of what most of the time you would believe would be a bad ending. So do you have any more good news for us?
I'll get a couple more here. That is a very good news story there, Chris. That's awesome. Wrong number saves stroke victim. A wrong number turned out to be an extremely lucky break for an elderly woman suffering a stroke in her home in Richmond, California. A college student on the receiving end of the call acted quickly to save the life of someone hundreds of miles away. She's now being hailed as a hero. When Ann Turner, 70, fell in her bedroom last month, she grabbed the phone to call a friend. Instead, she reached 18-year-old Taylor Booker in her dorm room at the University of California. First, Booker worried the call might be a prank, but the biochemistry major soon recognized the signs of someone having a stroke. Booker had someone else call 911 while she remained on the call with Turner, and she was able to gather basic information. She stayed on the phone until paramedics arrived. Turner's stroke left her partially paralyzed and her speech impaired, but alive today, thanks to Booker's quick thinking.
It's a good thing they didn't keep the, I think it's a prank call theory.
What's the prank call
theory? They didn't say they thought it was a prank call.
She did. Is that all your good news stories?
It is.
I have an inspiring story.
Yeah. Let me get some music ready.
There you go. Woman rose solo across the Atlantic. 22-year-old American rower completed a solo journey across the Atlantic Ocean on Sunday, touching a pier in the coffee brown waters of Guiana to claim a record as the youngest person to accomplish the feat. Katie Spotts, who spent more than 2 months alone at sea, hugged her father and brother as 200 people cheered her arrival in the South American capital. The hardest part was just the solo part, Spot said, saying she struggled with the boredom and had trouble sleeping inside the cramped 19-foot rowboat. The athlete from Mentor, Ohio, set out from Dakar on January 3rd and endured rough seas during the 2,817-mile crossing. She traveled without any support boat aside from a Coast Guard vessel that escorted her to Guana's coast. She rowed to raise money and awareness for the Blue Planet Run Foundation, a nonprofit whose goal is to bring clean drinking water to the estimated 1 billion people worldwide who lack it. Anyway.
You should know, everywhere I go, always on my mind.
She rode for as many as 10 hours a day. She took breaks for naps, navigation, and boat maintenance. At night, she would drift aboard the specially designed ocean rowboat, which had equipment including solar panels for power, a satellite phone, and a laptop computer. She had little fresh food aside from sprouts grown aboard the boat.
Wow. I think if Peter Cetera were here right now, I think he would break out into chorus.
She would cook 3 dehydrated meals a day on a little stove. And said she has devoured a melon at dock of Georgetown.
Well, that's impressive. I couldn't row a mile.
It was a big boat too. Big rowboat, 19 foot. You should have seen the pictures of it.
But she did have an escort, a Coast Guard escort.
Only to get her into the bay
Gotcha.
in Georgetown now.
But the whole trip, she was all by herself. Wow.
Now, she did have a satellite phone and a laptop, and she said she blogged every night and that kind of stuff. But,
so obviously how could you sleep? I guess you would just pass out. But if I were in the middle of the Atlantic, couldn't see land for anywhere around, in waters that were thousands of feet deep,
right?
I don't think I could just be like,
there was sharks.
I'm just going to take a nap now. I don't know if that would happen for me. Well, that's a pretty awesome.
And I guess the tide taking in a certain direction, I'd be scared I'd lose whatever progress I made by sleeping.
Right.
But I guess that's not the case. I have another good news story.
Well, please.
A woman died 114 times in 30 hours.
That's great news. I guess the fact that they arrived at the 115th is the good part.
The miracle of a woman brought back from the dead 114 times in 30 hours. A woman has praised miracle doctors after she was brought back from the dead 114 times. Ann Mentrum said she went through total hell as medics battled to save her life with electric shocks. The 55-year-old ended up with scorch marks on her body from the shocks as doctors at 2 hospitals repeatedly resuscitated her lifeless body for more than a day and a night.
Wow.
Her heart stopped 114 times over 30 hours. I don't know how many more times I can say that. Let's see here. And never gave up. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I read this earlier. She suffers from sudden adult death syndrome. And the heart stops for no known reason after a collapse at home. And basically, she had a collapse at home, and her husband was able to resuscitate her, got her to the hospital, and it kept happening.
So instead of SIDS, she has SADS.
Yes.
Well, we have a caller.
Oh, okay.
That has her hand raised. So take this call. Blackbeard, are you there?
I am.
How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well.
Fantastic. I just, when you started singing, made me want to sing.
That was a song.
But now I'm having a little bit of shyness, so I was gonna sing, never give up, but I'm trying to figure out some, music in the background and find some karaoke, like online karaoke stuff. I was gonna sing to you, but you took my call too quick, so I couldn't. I don't have anything, and I don't do acapella, so.
You don't do acapella? We are the world. I have heard you do acapella many times.
I know, but when we're talking to the interweb and all these people out here on this interweb,
right?
It's kind of like being cold, if you know what I'm talking about. It gets shy. So anyway,
for non-professionals like yourself.
I need to be like that guy last night on American Idol. I caught the last part of it because I was switching to another show, and he's giving it all he's got, and then he breaks into that. He hits the high notes, and I'm like, you know what? I need to be that guy, just singing just so good,
We just lost 3 more listeners.
Well,
that was awesome.
Whatever I can do to help you guys lose listeners, I'm all down for. You know what I mean?
We appreciate it. We have so many, we can't keep up with them.
Well, like you say, there's so much negative in the world. I'm just trying to bring a little positive, too. A little positive stuff to your show.
You did. I mean, I was ready for it. When you said you were going to sing, I was ready for you to bust out some Chicago there for us.
You know what? You give me enough time to find some, like a little online karaoke so I can have the music and listen to me, and I will sing it up, brother.
All right.
That's a promise. And you know what? If it's not tonight, we'll schedule something, and I'll get on and I will sing you a song and sing it like I was Tony Bennett.
We'll be the judges. We won't be too critical. Ellen's been wanting to come on the show. Maybe we'll just schedule them. We'll have her come there for that, and she can judge your performance.
That would be awesome because I think I really have talent.
Right.
I think I could do it.
I've heard it. I think that rendition was the best we've heard tonight. Yeah. It is without a doubt the best we've heard thus far in the season. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, what you guys got on tap for us tonight? Good stuff. I heard. Well, let me put it this way. I heard about the girl, and I heard about the sudden death syndrome.
Right. We got even more good news stories.
Do you?
We do. Yes. We got lottery winners. We've got Viagra for sex offenders. We've got lots of good stories. We bring to the masses what the regular outlets will not bring. That's what we offer here.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, when are you guys going to hit the road and do the show on the road?
A lot of our listeners have been asking that, as a matter of fact.
We've been toying with the idea of doing it live with our tailgaters.
Yes. Of just taking a laptop, go out in the backyard, and just doing it live out there. But we're afraid they're a wild bunch, so we're not sure how that would go over.
Too rowdy, and they might break out in song.
Right. We've actually had some other requests of taking the show on the road. So we may do a live on location.
I would love to sponsor you over in the big metropolis over in Salem here.
Yeah.
And I would be happy to sponsor you and take you out for dinner afterwards, and we could do it at one of the local coffee houses, and I'll even spring to get a banner created, and we'll make it an event. And we'll get people going. We'll get all kinds of people going to your thing, and I'll advertise it for you.
Well, yeah, we can do that.
Exactly. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly do
that.
Like I can't remember the name of that coffee house over there just east of downtown, but something
Absolutely.
like that.
Cranky.
We could do a live on location.
Well, think about it.
Yeah, we could point to something like that.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Well, listen, don't need to let you guys get back to your show. Thanks for indulging me, and I will let you know if I find some good music to sing to, and then you can be the judge.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys. Have fun.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Well, there we go. We had a caller call in, and it looks like, I could be wrong, but it looks like that he was able to do a click-to-talk maybe.
Okay.
Because that wasn't, the caller ID on the switchboard didn't actually give us a number. It's actually got his username. So, as we always said, if you have a microphone and speakers, you can do a click-to-talk. That's one of the ways that you can use this, communicate with us without having to use your home phone if you don't have a cell phone with pretty long distance.
Absolutely.
I have a neat story. I wouldn't say it's necessarily great news, but it's neat.
Okay.
And I won't read the whole thing because it's long, but it deals with a solar plane. This is a Swiss team, and they're promoting renewable energy over oil. And their plane soars for the first flight here recently. A solar plane with wings as wide as a 747 and the power of a small motorboat took to the skies for the first time Wednesday, cruising a mile high at low speeds for nearly an hour and a half, in a step toward becoming the first sun-powered aircraft to circle the world. Their goal is to fly it around the world in 2012. And we're talking about it's using nearly 12,000 solar cells, 880 pounds of lithium batteries, and 4 10-horsepower electric motors. It's a single-seater. So we're talking about only 40 horsepower. That's not very much.
No, it's not.
And they've actually proven that it can fly. It's big, yet it's light. Uses very little energy. And they're talking with a guy who co-piloted the first nonstop round-the-globe balloon flight in 1999. So they've got some pretty big expectations out of them. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Only 40 horsepower.
Right.
It's not an awful lot, but it's got a neat little picture out here. And 880 pounds of batteries. I don't know how much the solar panels weigh, but then you've got a person in there of ever how much weight. So it's not really a lot of weight. So they've made a milestone in their goal of doing this in 2012. So I say good news for them.
Yeah, very cool.
So
what else you got? Any good news?
I don't have any more good news stories.
This one might be considered good news.
I have a story about a dead man that wasn't allowed to get on a plane.
Your lottery one might be good news.
Well, I thought you were going to read that.
You can do a lottery.
Oh, well, I've already closed the page.
Well, good. I'll do this other one.
Okay.
2 Canadian men discovered they're not just neighbors, they're brothers. 2 men discovered that they were brothers and neighbors. 2 Canadian men, each given up for adoption at a young age, were separately searching for their biological families when they learned that all they had to do was walk across the street. The surprise came when one of the men, Tommy Larkin, was speaking with someone from the adoption agency about the identity of his brother. She gave me his name and asked me 4 or 5 times if I knew him. Larkin told a local newspaper, I said I didn't, and I just kept asking me if I was sure I haven't met him. Then she gave me the newfound brother's address. I'm looking at the house right now, he said. Larkin, 30, and Stephen Goosney, 29, were born a year and a half apart and had been living across the street from each other for 7 months before the adoption agency connected the two. It was pretty overwhelming. Goosney said, "It's been good. We have been seeing each other pretty much every day, just hanging out and trying to catch up."
It's a pretty amazing story. You read about these people getting reunited.
And it feels so good.
And it feels so good. But with it, I mean, he's literally right across the street.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. Hey, this story comes to us from Philadelphia. The Pennsylvania lottery proved to be the seventh heaven for thousands of lottery players this week. The lottery paid out a total of $7.77 million after the number 7777 came up in the Big Four drawing Wednesday. Mm-hmm. More than 3,100 tickets had the winning numbers. They won either $2,500 or $5,000, depending on whether they wagered. The buyer wagered 50 cents or $1. That set of numbers has only been a winner twice since 1990. The last set of quadruple numbers to win was 2222 in September of 2008. So, and you had a little bit more information in my story.
Yeah, the Big Four payout was a staggering 1,573% of sales, according to a lottery spokeswoman. In other words, the lottery has to dish out about $7.2 million more than it took in for that drawing.
Wow. You have to play catch up. So it's kind of neat, you know. It's apparently, I mean, you know, the odds are kind of stacked against you anyhow. So if you just go in there and play the same numbers every time, it kind of takes the guesswork out, or, you know, trying to figure out what you're going to do. I just found it interesting that over 3,100 people had submitted the exact same number, and then they all won. So.
They said that we operate our numbers game with the expectation that when triples or quadruples hit, we will lose money, she said.
Right. But then I'm sure they made it up before, and they will make it up since.
Right.
No problem. But, yeah. The house did not win on that particular game. No. So a lot of times we have dumb crook stories. Mm-hmm. People that criminal weirdness and whatnot. Well, here's one. Comes to us from Wisconsin, or as they say, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. A gunman locked bank employees in a vault in Elkhart Lake and then left behind a package with flashing lights before stealing cash, while the bank manager unknowingly went about her business. Police Chief Randy Bolt said the man, disguised with a wig and a fake mustache and a beard, entered the National Exchange Bank and Trust Thursday and ordered 3 tellers into the vault, where he locked them behind a gate and told them it was no April Fool's joke. Bolt said the man left the box with flashing lights near the vault and told the tellers they would be electrocuted if they left before the lights stopped flashing. Local newspaper reported the manager arrived at the bank, walked into her office, and never saw a thing as the robber walked out the door. There's a story where he was actually successful. Doesn't happen that often, no. But I thought it was interesting that the manager comes in, goes about her business, getting the day started, and doesn't even notice that, you know, people are locked in the vault. Right. This guy's walking out with a money. So, an odd story.
Speaking of criminals, British prisoners have helped addicts relapse before re-entering society. Mm-hmm. British prisons help addicts. Drug-free convicts in Britain are being turned back into junkies by prison doctors before being released due to controversial government program. Prisoners targeted for retoxification are inmates who come into jail as addicts and are due to be released. The idea behind the program is that those addicts prior to... What was that?
There's something on the phone.
That those addicts prior to serving their sentences will likely relapse, so giving them addictive substances ahead of time should cut down on deaths by overdose.
And, yeah, okay.
33 prisons across England have highly addictive heroin substitutes like methadone to inmates. Offer highly addictive heroin substitutes like methadone to inmates, even if their sentences mean they have effectively been drug-free at the time of their release.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of messed up.
That is messed up. I can see, even though I don't know if I completely agree with it, I can see the point. If they would have been in there for 10 or 15 years, it's different.
Right.
they'd only been in there like 2 or 3 months, and you know they aren't completely detoxing. You know that they are going to go out. Odds are they're going to go out and do it again. There is definitely a higher chance of an overdose with that because their body hasn't been acclimated to it, and they want it so bad they're going to probably take a larger amount. And I can see the reasoning. I'm just not sure I would be comfortable with doing it.
No, because even the chance that they would turn away from it, why get them hooked on it again? Because those are the ones who cause the crimes.
Right.
A large percentage of the ones who cause the crimes.
Could have been very well why they're in there, stealing to yes.
To fund their habit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but I do at least see the angle they're coming from, even though I don't agree with it. Well, texting is very popular nowadays.
Yes.
People text up a storm.
During shows even.
Yeah, I mean, we have people that text during our show.
Yeah.
Well, this comes to where maybe some people shouldn't have been texting. An errant text leads to 3 drug arrests in New York. An errant text message is costing 3 New York drug dealing suspects dearly. Police say the suspects made a mistake when trying to text a potential buyer and instead reached a task force agent in Dutchess County about 50 miles north of New York City. The 3 were arrested after arranging a meeting with the agent who pretended to be the buyer. Police say they recovered 60 bags of heroin. Task Force Sergeant Brett Orlick says their bad luck is our good luck. So apparently maybe the sergeant was glad to get some free heroin. I don't know. The 3 are due in court in Pine Plains on Wednesday to face felony charges of criminal possession of a controlled substance. So perhaps if you're going to, I don't know, if you're going to be selling drugs, especially heroin or cocaine or something like that, and you're using text messaging to set up your buys, maybe perhaps you should know for certain the number you're sending it to, because if you do like these guys do and send it to a police officer, you're probably going to get busted.
That would be bad.
I would recommend not selling heroin.
Right.
Or moving to England.
There you go.
They could sell it to the prison system.
Why is the prison?
Exactly, and they could make a lot of money that way. Maybe we go from someone who had a successful criminal activity to 3 that weren't so successful. I have something here I want to go ahead and throw in again before you get to your Viagra story.
Okay.
This is something I know we will both agree with. Well, actually, I don't completely agree with it, but I understand the principle. This comes from Phoenix. Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio has started a program he calls Pedal Vision, in which inmates pedal stationary bikes to generate electricity for television sets. The bikes are customized to turn on connected TV sets once the inmates pedal enough to generate 12 volts of electricity. An hour of pedaling equals an hour of television. The sheriff said inmates will only be able to watch television if they choose to pedal. He said he started the program with female inmates because they seem more receptive. He said the only exercise female inmates have been getting is speed walking around the tent yard. Pedal vision gives them a reason to get moving and a way to burn calories.
I think it's good because it's just not, I think it's pretty bad that prisoners have it too easy.
Right.
I mean, to sit back and watch TV and kill their time, I think it should be hard labor. While that's not hard labor, at least it's not as cushy as...
Right, and that's why I was saying I don't completely agree with it because why do they need TV in the first place? But if you're going to be supplying them with a television, he's basically making them work for it.
Right.
If you want to watch TV, you have to pedal the entire time you want to watch it.
Plus it cuts down on power bill.
And it gives them some exercise while they're at it.
There you go.
So I think it's actually a pretty interesting story.
Better program than supplying them with heroin, I think.
Yes. Maybe so.
We go back to one where you just were. Did you see that sign? Top right hand corner?
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm. That's a video. So you'll have to read the actual story to us.
Let's see. The next story I have is GOP senator. Let's see. Healthcare law will permit sex offenders to get Viagra. The Congressional Research Service has confirmed Senator Tom Coburn's assertions that sex offenders not in prison could get Viagra and other drugs treating erectile dysfunction under health plans subsidized by taxpayer dollars. Great idea.
Yes, awesome.
The Congressional Research Service has confirmed
It's a great idea that we have sex offenders that are free.
Really?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think we should let them all out of prison.
Senator Tom Coburn drew ridicule last month for trying in vain to prohibit sex offenders from getting Viagra prescriptions under the new health care law. But Coburn is now having the last laugh after the Congressional Research Service confirmed his assertions that sex offenders not in prison could get Viagra and other drugs treating erectile dysfunction under health plans subsidized by taxpayer dollars. In a memo to the Oklahoma Republican, who is one of two doctors in the chamber and provided the CRS with that there are no provisions in the new health care law which would require health plans to limit the type of benefits that could be offered based on the plan's beneficiaries. Anyway. Therefore, a convicted rapist, child molester, or other sex offender who is not incarcerated would not appear to be excluded from enrolling in a qualified health plan, allowing through an American health benefit exchange in their state solely because of their conviction.
Stuck in the 70s says, now that's doing hard time. My cousin, I won't use his name. He told me, he said my buddy took a Viagra and it got stuck in his throat and his neck was stiff for a week. And if you knew this cousin of mine and were there to witness him tell it, it was even funnier, just the way he's so animated. Right. And he almost fell off the couch. Well, that's great. You know, it makes me feel warm and comfortable that we're letting rapists and child molesters out of prison in the first place. I mean, that's it's the American way. You know, where you can rape and molest and still live a free life. But then, you know, they don't need, like most of those people aren't doing it necessarily for sexual gratification anyhow. But yeah, why don't we just add fuel to the fire? Sure. That's we can all thank President Obama. You know, he's an awesome leader and has really implemented a lot of really wonderful things. Well, and this is one of them.
Speaking of Obama, I'll go ahead and go to my other story kind of tied into this.
Okay.
Doctor to Obama supporters find health care elsewhere. A Florida doctor who opposes the new health care law posted a sign on his office door telling patients who voted for President Obama to get care elsewhere.
I saw that last week.
Oh, did you? A Florida doctor who opposes the new health care law posted a sign in his office telling patients to get help elsewhere. The sign on Dr. Jack Castle's door reads, "Changes to your health care begin right now, not in 4 years." He said he's not turning anyone away. That would be unethical. But if they read the sign and they turn away, so be it.
Well, unless you're a child molester or a rapist, then you could probably go there and get some Viagra.
He's providing his patients with photocopies of a health care timeline produced by the Republican leaders that outlines major provisions in the health care law. And he's placed a sign above the stack of copies that reads, "This is what the morons in Washington has done with your health. Take one, read it, and vote out anyone who voted for it."
You know what? I have a miniature rant.
Okay.
It's so funny to me how everybody in this country, like 99% of the people in this country, are so hung up on Republican versus Democrat or liberal versus conservative, when, you know, that has absolutely nothing to do why I'm against it and why anybody should be against it. It's just pure stupidity. Regardless of if the president were a Republican, I would be 100% against it.
Right.
Because I'm against socialism, and I don't understand why anybody would be for it because it's never been successful in the history of the world. I don't know about how stuck in the 70s would feel about it being in England, but I do know someone that lived in England she lived there, I think, for 12 or 13 years, and said that when she moved here, the healthcare was, light years better as far as, being able to go to the hospital, being able to get doctors to do surgeries. And then my coworkers, when I was at a smaller company that lived in Newfoundland, I said one of the guys, my counterpart in the Newfoundland office, his wife was horribly ill. She had like 3 major health problems, all of which could prove to be fatal. And she was, and we were talking about it one day, and I said, Jim, I said, well, I said, this is horrible. He was telling me about it, giving me an update and saying, please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I was like, well, Jim, this is horrible, and I know this doesn't really help. I said, but at least you're not having to pay for this health care. And, I wish I hadn't have said that, because he went on about an hour tirade against the Canadian government and against, free health care, and said it was a load and it was a crock. And, I mean, he just went on and on and on. And, I was like, well, I was thinking, well, it's free. And he was like, yeah. And he's like, I would rather be able to pay for it and actually get quality health care for my wife.
You get what you pay for.
Right. He said, my wife is receiving, horribly crappy health care. He said, he was just vehemently against it. And
I think we needed some reform, but not to.
Yeah. Not to. And here's the thing, and I'm not trying to make this a liberal versus conservative argument, but Jim, the guy I'm talking about, is very liberal. Very, very, very liberal. And he was just completely against it. And I think the reason why he was against it, it wasn't like, I have my back hurts, so I got a cold and I'm going to go to the doctor and I don't have to pay anything. It was, my wife is deathly ill. I have 3 young children. I love my wife. I don't want her to die. I don't want my children to grow up without their mother, and I'm receiving horrible health care.
Right.
All because it's quote unquote free. And so I just here's someone on the other end of the political spectrum of the people that, are supposedly against it here in our country.
Right.
It's not about liberal versus conservative. It's about quality of health care. And and that's not even, we have a bully pulpit, so we can state our opinion as fact if we want to. But this isn't my opinion. It's fact that socialism has never been successful. Never, ever in the history of the world. That isn't Christopher's opinion. That's just a fact. And if someone says to me, I like socialism, I like living in poverty, I like being told what to do, when to do it, and be given a gallon of milk and a sack of potatoes and 2 pair of jeans when I go to the store, if you like that, okay. I mean, if you truly, truly tell me that you agree with socialism and you think it's great, then I'm not going to argue with you because I respect your opinion on that. But when people, don't really truly look at socialism the way it is, and they just look at the highlights and they don't look at all the negatives, and they really aren't truly informed on it, then I have to question whether or not they're truly for it. And I actually know a few people that say they would have no problem living in a socialistic society. The one person I'm thinking of off the top of my head is of Polish descent and grew up with parents and grandparents that still had the mindset of communism. So, that may have had something to do with it.
Well, I just don't think the government does anything better or cheaper. Once they get involved, they screw everything up, and it costs 10 times more. So
Republican or Democrat.
Republican or
Democrat. It doesn't matter. They screw everything up.
Small government, which means less taxes. Mm-hmm. They can't do it better than the free market. No. So, but I will say that there were problems with the current system. And what they've done hasn't fixed it. But
it won't fix it.
Like when you go to the doctor right now, and you leave, you don't know what your insurance is covering or not. You don't know you don't know you're getting charged for what you just left.
Right.
You don't know if your insurance is going to cover it. You have no idea what you're being charged to be covered.
Right.
I mean, that's messed up. You don't find out till 4 months later.
I've never had that.
What do you mean?
I pay a copay, and that's all that. I've never had that issue. I've heard other people say it, but I've never.
Well, like I went to the emergency room recently.
Go figure.
When I nearly cut off 2 fingers, and I had no clue. I still have no clue what's covered and what's not covered. What was the other thing I got billed for recently? Oh, I went to that sleep study.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance didn't cover all of it, but I didn't find out until 4 months later that I was responsible for almost $400 or $500.
Now that's not our healthcare system that sucks. That's just your insurance not doing a very good job.
But I still should know when I leave the doctor's office how much the bill would be.
Well, see, I know. With my insurance, and fortunately, I'm very blessed to have really good insurance. With my insurance, whatever I pay, my copay when I'm there, that's it. There is nothing else, ever.
Not like an 80-20, or there's no limits to your policy or anything.
No. I rarely get. I haven't been
like
to the doctor
in a year
and a half, but
what was that disease I had, Chris? The
meningitis.
Yeah.
The viral meningitis.
Viral meningitis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ended up owing $2,000 on that, which I didn't mind because it would have been like 20.
Right.
I mean, but you know, I didn't find that out until probably 6 months after it was all said and done. As to what was going to be covered and what wasn't.
Well,
you know?
I will have to say, fortunately, I've never had something like that, and I'm very thankful about that. And I rarely go to the doctor. But when I do go to the doctor, with my insurance, I just pay. Well, you know, all the back problems and neck problems I've had, I've got multiple MRIs of my lumbar section, of the cervical section of my neck. I've had brain MRIs. They didn't come up with much. And I have never, since I've got on the new insurance that I'm on now, with my current company since 2000, I've never paid anything, like no copay or anything. Before then, I had insurance where I had to pay like $200, and then the rest was covered, which, I mean, when you're talking about $1,400, yeah, $200 is not that bad. But under my current insurance since 2000, I've never had to pay a penny on those, ever. I go there, and I'm like, what do I owe? And they're like, nothing. I was like, what's the copay? They're like, you don't have one. And, I mean, it's $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 procedure that I haven't paid anything for. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's always waste. Whenever you get into anything that's big and clunky, there's going to be waste. But I'm not seeing where it was as broke as everybody else was saying. Maybe I'm just extremely blessed in the insurance I have, and I'm very thankful for that. But my mother made a very good point. Any hospital in the United States of America, in all 50 states, they cannot legally turn you away.
Right.
If you don't have a penny, if you're homeless and you walk in there, they have to treat you. They have to. They're bound ethically and by the oath that they take, and legally. So I know that sucks because insurance companies, us as individuals, somebody has to pick up the slack there.
Right.
But everybody was talking about how horrible and all these uninsured people. Yet if they go to the hospital, they can't be turned away.
Right.
They can get the health care, at least the minimum health care that they need. I'm not really seeing where it was such a horrible thing. And we have people come from the entire world. Indonesia, Australia, England, Africa. People come from all over the world. Where do they come for their health care? They come here.
Right. Who's got the best doctor?
Because it is the absolute best of the best. Now, I know they're not all Americans. They're people from other countries, and I respect that. But nonetheless, the best health care in the world is in this country.
It's because we reward excellence.
Because we reward excellence.
Where if everybody's getting paid the same regardless of...
Then what does that breed? Complacency.
Exactly.
That's not my opinion. Those are just facts. Southeastern Eye Center here in Greensboro, North Carolina, is world-renowned. I was in there one day, and there was, this person I'm sure was very wealthy. They were a sheik or something like that. They were an Arab, and they had, what's that word when you walk? An entourage. They had an entourage with him. And I was very curious of this, and I was asking the young lady who was taking me back to start my test, and she said, he's from, where he was some emirate from somewhere. And I was like, what was he doing here? She said, he he comes here for his eye exams and his eye care. I was like, seriously, they don't have eye doctors over there? She goes, not as good as us, apparently. No, obviously he had the actual monetary means to fly over here, once or twice a year for his eye care.
Right.
But he flew from somewhere in the Middle East to here. We have the best health care. But yet the moron in office and all of his minions will try to convince you that it's horrible. I can't be convinced of that.
Right.
I can't. So, anyhow, end of rant.
Speaking of rants, the one we had last week about farm factories and that kind of stuff, and we were talking about bird cages and that kind of stuff and whatnot.
And pigs.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, Walmart, and I was asking if you would pay more for meat or eggs
like
grass that weren't from caged bird cages and whatnot, and the Walmart brand, I think it's Land's Best or whatever, I don't quote me. Theirs are all non-caged birds eggs.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought, so you're actually not paying more, you're paying less.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I know there's, I can't remember, there's a brand, Harris Teeter, they have caged and then caged free eggs. But that's interesting about Walmart. Very cool. And I know we'll finish it off with this prostitution story.
We don't have to.
But no, we really do. That's a good story. But I have to have a mini rant. As long as we're talking about our government and the unbelievable faith and trust that people in this country are putting into our government, this is how stupid, and I hate to say this about the country I love, this is how stupid our government is. 2010 census. I got a piece of mail telling me that I was going to receive a census. I got the census. And then I got a piece of mail telling me that I received the census. Okay, so they spent 3 times the postage that was necessary.
Some people need to.
These are the idiots of our government that are wasting our money. They spent 3 times the postage necessary, and yet we want to entrust them with something as important as health care. That
I think we're getting off cheap if all they're paying is 3 times, because I think
you're right.
They're involved. It's usually 10, 20 times.
You're absolutely right, but it was an unbelievable waste of postage. That's just pure stupidity, and I don't want to entrust you. I like you said, small government. That's what I believe in. I'm the same way. Small government.
Should we talk about prostitutes?
Yes, we should. And Stuck in the 70s made a very good point. There goes another rainforest, sending out 3 times the amount of mail instead of just 1. Good point, Stuck in the 70s.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to end the show talking about the oldest profession in the book.
Prostitute sign confuses motorists. This is in Italy. There's a sign. It's a red triangle with a scantily clad woman in the middle that says, "Attention prostitutes." We guess warning tourists to watch out for prostitutes. The red bordered triangular sign shows a scantily clad woman carrying a handbag in the city of Treviso in northern Italy. The sign states, "Attention prostitute," seemingly warning people of prostitutes in the area. Motorists and pedestrians have complained that the sign is confusing, saying they don't know if it means to watch out for crossing hookers or if it means prostitutes operate in this area, if you're interested. One local, Dino Vizio, 34, said, "I was driving into work and I saw a sign. I had to slow down to get a proper look. I couldn't. Has a miniskirt on, high heels, and very big breasts." And I just couldn't work out what it was for. Does it mean I have to look out for prostitutes crossing, or they're available around here?
And I think that's a very legitimate concern.
Indeed.
Maybe the Italian government should take over the prostitution industry.
Yes.
I don't know. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week.
This has been Blog Talk Radio's The Incoherent Ramblings of CNE. Christopher and Eric are your hosts, and we would like to thank you for listening to our show today. Don't forget to tune in for next week's show, live from Greensboro, North Carolina, as we are every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time.